Hi, this is Runa, and you're listening to the Changemakers podcast, where we share tips, insight, tools, and stories from other changemakers designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runamagnus.com/podcast. And now, this is your time to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Meet my guest, Viviana Premazzi. She's the founder of Global Mindset Development, or GMD Malta. Passionate to help other people to develop a global mindset to understand the world around them. She's a specialist in education and training in diversity management, intercultural relations, B2E and B2C marketing strategy, and passionate about CSR. She strongly believes in the power of edutainment, which is when you put entertainment and education together, and of the learning by doing. And she's always, everything that Viviana does is to bridge the research with practice and field work. Viviana is a special one for me because she is one of our No More Boxes advocates. And as she is an expat in Malta, helping people to develop and understand and see what goodness it would give them to bring more global mindset into their day-to-day life, I am extremely pleased to welcome her as a guest on our podcast. You will learn a lot from Viviana. You will learn about how things can be different when you set that mindset. You will also learn, and I thought her story, so I think many people can relate to, is really helping her creating the change that she wants to see in her world. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Viviana Premazzi. Viviana Premazzi? Oh, that was so Italian or not? No, that was Icelandic way of pronouncing a beautiful name. I'm sorry, I started off with the wrong end. But maybe that doesn't really mind, because what we're going to be talking about is global mindset, Viviana. And welcome to the Changemakers podcast. I'm doing this all on a different level than I never done it before, but that's okay. I'm out of the box. Global mindset, Viviana, and looking at the world through that lens. Can you share with us? Because I think that is so out of the box. Can you share with us?
Yeah.
What does that what does that mean? Having a global mindset.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and also when I met you and the change makers and the No More Boxes, that really found my place and my people, even if maybe it's another box, but we will talk about this later. And many things happened in the past year, and one of the things was this idea of creating global mindset development. For me, a global mindset is something extremely needed nowadays, but it's really an attitude, a new way to see the world is being curious, being open to everything around you. That are people, there is the environment, everything that can come to you. And having a global mindset nowadays, I think it is extremely useful, not only for work in business or corporation, but also when you travel for leisure, when you go somewhere else and you really want to be in this place, meet these people in this new place. But also if you stay in your village and you have people coming from different countries, different cultures, or everything that the music you listen, the movie you see, having a global mindset, I think can really help you to appreciate more everything around you get in touch with.
That sounds like you are breaking out of a whole lot of boxes in order to be able to fully embrace that. I think many of us think that we are up to a certain point. I can envision there are quite a lot of obstacles on the average Joe or Joanne's way doing so. Let's start with the beginning. And Viviana, why did this passion of yours, how did that originally come your way?
I think that I'm from a family, we didn't travel a lot when I was a kid. I have a lot of friends that were traveling more than I was. We were used to go to the same like place all the summer for 18 years. But then when I was always curious. I think this is one of like the secret. And also when I was going in a school in a city, I have friends in another city and again and again. And then everything started with my Erasmus in Portugal, and especially the thesis I did for my degree that was in political sciences. And at that time I was really Catholic, and I was a woman in my 20s, and I was really into politics in the way that I wanted to like do something for the world, like be the change again at that time.
Yeah.
And so my thesis was about the feminist theology of liberation in Brazil. So was the gender in Brazil and in politics and the church. So that for me was something really, really big. The most is like question everything I was until then, like being a woman, being Catholic, being into so many things changes from them, and also living in a different countries, really totally different countries, also helped me to. And being a foreigner, even in speaking the language, I was a foreigner, so it was really something. Then I did my internship at the United Nations in New York in 2007, and that experience also helped me. I was at the permanent mission of Italy at the United Nations, so I was kind of representing my government, but in an international, in the most, I think, international environment or global environment. What I realized there was that I didn't want to be a diplomat or a politician, but I want to be the expert, being able to give something to say to the representatives of my government. Because we used to go to the General Assembly, and before the European Union assembly, and we had like Germany coming with 4 experts and the diplomats, like France coming with 4 experts, and we had Italy. And Italy, we were only like the intern and the diplomat, and I wanted my country have something to say on the different topics. So then I came back and I decided to study like the different cultures, to be able to be this expert providing something to the politician to say. And then I think also like the personal life and the professional life really brought me on this path, because I met a guy at that time, and he was from Russia, from Siberia, but he was a second generation living in Italy. Mm-hmm. And when we start dating, really we have like 2 different cultures, but at the same time really big identity issues, because I was Italian, but I was not traditional. I'm not a traditional Italian, if we think there is a traditional way of being.
Yeah.
At the same time, yes, another like box. Yeah. And at the same time, he wanted to be like a Russian second generations in Italy, with all the like identity of being, try to put together these 2 different cultures. And it was at the relationship level and all the at the different levels. And so I started working with the second generations on the identity with the young people. Probably at the beginning was to understand better him and our relationship, but then it was because I saw at that time Italy already changing with all these new like young people of my age, of younger, and with all their different cultures, the language they were speaking, and at the same time be so Italian, or so proud of also being Italian, or mixing in a different ways and producing something really new about being Italian. And then I met also my actual partner, and he was in the army, and he went in a mission before in Afghanistan and then in Lebanon and Kosovo. So all the mission, and he really helped me to got another like point of view of and really like see geopolitics at work on the field. Was not only politics or geopolitics at the international level in New York or in Washington or in Rome, but was really to see on the field and what was going on there. And again, cultures and economics and different dimensions. And at the same time, and this is one of the services that they offer also nowadays, the importance of having a support when you are alone or even not alone, but like deployed in a new country, relocating in a new country, the support that the people, your family, your friends can give you, or that you can miss. And in each of the mission he did, they have at least one suicide. And in all the cases, the suicide were related to family issues. And so for me, it was also really important to, now I'm on the other side. So now I'm the expat. I'm the one like alone in a different country, but also realize how it is important, like for the people around the person who is like relocated to understand what is going on. It is not only can be like the most close country, but can be like different cultural shock or like think you have to like assess and adapt to the new country, and you can really be not like in balance with yourself and all the world around you. So everything then got me to Malta. And in Malta, I think I found, after I'm almost 2 years and I'm here, and I found a really dynamic place, are really curious, like the people are really curious. They are, they wanted to try. They are not afraid to try something new. And so I thought this is the right place. It's really small. Malta is like a medium-sized Italian city, but at the same time, it's so international and so dynamic.
Yeah.
And so here I started like global mindset development Malta, with the idea of like try to help people, organizations, companies to develop a global mindset. I really think that can be for everyone, everywhere, not only in Malta.
Global mindset is, in my belief, such an essential place to be. If we would give each other more space to and be more curious, open, like you're saying, open for understanding each other, and give us space to be. Yeah, I think it could really lead to a whole lot of a kinder world. Now, I know that there are so many, I don't know, I don't want to call it blocks, but you can feel in today's environment and the world that we're living in, that there's deep understanding of the need to do what you're doing, and that we start to look at ourselves as a global citizen, not as, here I am Icelandic, you're Italian, you're in Malta, you're in a relationship with and we put that into all these different boxes, whether it is leaving that and looking at it from above and say, hey, we're all human beings.
Yes.
And yes, I do have my background, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the right background or the right culture, because no culture is basically a right culture. It's just a culture.
Yeah. Yes, that's totally.
It's just a box.
Yes, and also I think the world we live, like we have a lot of fears, and at the same time, sometimes the fears and maybe ignorance produce arrogance. So we put ourselves in a box, and the box is with arrogance, but because we are so afraid of like open our box and see what is out there, because what it is out there can maybe take something out of what I am, but this is prevent us to gain so much, because I really think, and sometimes it's just an excuse, because also the economic crisis, of course, my country, your country, we were affected by the economic crisis, but at the same time, it's also an excuse to say, no, the resources are scarce. I don't want to have someone else having my same resources. And now we are still keeping this like narrative of the economic crisis. At the same time, like terrorism, of course, it is something big, like having all the attacks in Europe or everywhere in the world is something we are scary. But at the same time, it's not probably put ourselves in a box and try to build a fortress around ourselves that keep us more secure, but is actually try to build a better world for everyone here.
Yeah, and like we're saying always with the box methodology, we are always going to be in a box. The question is the box nurturing you? Is it allowing you to grow? Is it accepting you? Are you accepting yourself? And you're saying, which I think is such a crucial point, that so many of the fear has to do of opening up, has to do with, I'm then losing something.
And that's the mindset that takes sense, is that, I'm definitely going to lose something if I do that. But you don't really know what you're losing. The only thing that you might be losing is something that, yes, was, and yes, might have given you safety feeling at some point. But that does not mean that it is still giving you safety, and that safety is still needed. And that's the wake-up moment. I think this is so interesting, Viviana, because I see in the work that we've been doing with the No More Boxes movement and opening up that dialogue, just having that conversation in a non-judgmental way. You absolutely see how you create those deep connections with another person that you just met maybe a half an hour ago, which you would not have had. So I think what you're doing is so crucial to this world. Now, I know that you have big visions for what your work and the ripple effect of what you're doing can do to this world. Can you share with us what is the real change that you want to see as the outcome of what you're doing?
I think what I really want to see is people with less fears and just more like curious to meet other human beings. Because as you were saying, when people is really able to connect with other people, there's no right or wrong. It's just something that really like enrich yourself as a human beings, even if if you don't agree. So the point for me is also that the boxes are also sometimes our like politically correctness boxes that like prevent us to say something that can be unpolite, we think, but at the same time, if it is something that is true or we perceive as true, is good for us to say. So this was I like also in your like in the way you want to put together the Breakfast Club is really try to unpack all the boxes, but also the politically correct boxes that sometimes prevent us to really meet the other human being, because we still sometimes we still want to see like the good savage, like is again our idea of the other person is not.
So true, and that's what we've seen in those Breakfast Club, the breakthrough events. It's really what you're just saying, people seeing that, or maybe really understanding as well that their political correctness is just a safety net for them.
Yes.
And it's invisible. So how safe is that?
Yes.
I don't know. It's really fascinating when you go deep into the whole thing. As the result of that and the work that you're doing in Malta, I know you're starting with Malta, and I know Malta is a melting pot when it comes to culture. I mean, Malta is my favorite rock on this globe. And so I totally get where you're from when you talk about that melting pot and that they are open and the expats that are there and local as well to see what unites you and be curious. Can you share with us, how do you see this and envision this process to evolve outside of Malta?
For me, like I have a lot of connection, like starting with like Portugal and Brazil, and I was part of that foundation that was called Garage Erasmus Foundation, that was part of a bigger network that was the Erasmus Plus Student and Alumni Alliance. And through this alliance, I have like friends, colleagues, and ex-colleagues all around the world. And my idea is really to try to partner with a lot of organizations and companies and trainers all around the world, because I really think that like it's just the beginning, but also that I'm not like the one that can do everything, but I really strongly believe in the power of the partnership and the network. And this was actually like my dream since I started to think about of starting something myself. It was, I want to start something to have all my friends working with me. And my friends, in a way, were my idea of having like friends, colleagues, people with, I did research on Islam or religions or gender, everyone together try to like do something. And it's actually what I'm trying to do, like starting from Malta, but I have, of course, my contact in Italy, in Brazil. Now I'm working in the Balkans, in Albania and in Kosovo, also for the World Bank. But I'm always trying to like promote this idea. Like for me, every meeting is like I'm in this phase when I'm saying yes to everything, every meeting, because I think that from each meeting there's something that we can create together. And yeah, I think I have no limit in this phase.
Yeah, exactly. To our listeners, we will put into our show notes all the links so that you can reach out to Viviana and connect with her and get more information. But on the social media platform, Viviana, where can people reach out to you? What's the best platform in your mind?
I'm using like all the platforms, so you can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, but also on Instagram and Twitter. And then there is my website that is GMD Malta. And also you can contact me from my website. I'm updating and I'm putting like all there is also the list of partners, the list of like organization I'm member. So again, is not only my thing.
No, I know. The change makers are of course one of your partners. Of course. We stand
already there.
Yes, exactly. Viviana, thank you so much for being our guest. We do need to continue this conversation, and to our audience, please go and visit Viviana's website and make this day a day where you think about, so how does my life look like? What would be changed and what would be different for me if I would enable global mindset in my mind? Thank you so much, Viviana.
Thank you very much.
Was this podcast of value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes or Stitcher. And remember that you can always go to runemagnus.com to find out more about the changemakers and how we can help you drive the change you want to see in your world.